time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys. Welcome back and happy Thursday. All right, guys, so we're back to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County last night's episode, which, of course, on top of our plate of everything else, our Tamara Judge interview, our Mary Cosby's parents, pre-records, and Vanderpump Rules, we had an episode of Orange County. Yesterday was such a long day. Like I said this morning, thank you guys to all of you who woke up with me this morning for my every morning Wake Up and Adam. It was the best conversation, and we lasted about an hour and a half. Jason and I had to cut it like 10 minutes short because we had an appointment to get to, but we're back. Guys, there's 80 in the room. I do want to know because I have family in the room who they're visiting, and they're like, where's everybody from? I was like, that's a great question. I know we have Florida, Kentucky, New York. I know that we have Africa, Australia, Europe, South America. If you guys are in the live chat, comment and let us know where you're from because my family's watching and I want to know where you're from too. So with that, guys, we do have Jason in the room. If you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed as this is a subscribers only live chat. We're kicking this off in the first 2 minutes with 100 people in the room. Let's welcome Jason from Down with Jason. Hi.
Hey. Okay, hopefully
right.
my camera is going to be working. I'm not going to be freezing today.
No, listen.
You know?
Jason, I asked everybody in the live chat, where are they from? Where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from Washington, D.C., the DMV area. And then I don't know where I'm from anymore because you and I move around so much. It's funny, you know?
Okay. Mary Jo, we have to get Adam to 100K. Guys, we are 900 away, 900 subscribers from the 100K. Jason's going to Cape Cod today. So he was like, oh, no, I don't want to miss 100K if I'm gone. He comes back Saturday. I'm hoping Jason is gone for it because that means we're getting to it faster and then we'll celebrate.
No, I have to be here for it. I'm like, just give me 48 hours. I'm only gone for 48 hours. And I've never been to Cape Cod, so I'm really looking forward to.
Oh my gosh, I can't
adventure.
wait for you to share with everybody what you're doing.
It's a project, you know. People will get a hint tomorrow because I'm going to drop a live tomorrow with some people. But it's gonna be a fun project, I think, for sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right, so we have Arizona in the room, New York, Minnesota, Sweden. We have Canada,
Sweden,
DMV, Delaware, Canada, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, China, Missouri, wow, Tennessee, Toronto, Northeast Ohio, London, Vancouver, Brooklyn, you guys, Colorado,
wow.
Washington State. We have the UK, Baltimore, Fresno, Florida, Toronto, Chicago. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. Thelma said the new season of OC is boring. I disagree. Boise, Idaho. Hey, say hello to Jason's grandmother in Boise.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jason. So obviously we have to jump into this because you have a flight to catch. I did want to kick this off and ask you and everyone in the live chat if you could rate last night's episode, which I know that some of you guys might think OC is boring this season, but for me, it was exactly what I needed and what I wanted. I wanted the cast shakeup. I wanted it to feel vibrant and fresh again. I wanted to feel a little bit of that opulence, which Heather Dubrow brings. Even though some of you guys find her cringy, I don't. I would personally probably give this episode a 7. Comment in the live chat. Jason, where are you at?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. You know,
okay. What is this, a gymnast?
No, 7.5 is okay. It's when you do like the 7.375, like 9.2. Like that's like a gymnastics score. No, but I would say like a 7.5. Like it earns a good 7.5. Listen, I know that, you know, it was kind of controversial. Heather Dubrow coming back. Some people really like her. Some people don't, which, you know, makes a great housewife. Right. I feel like it was a necessity to bring her back to kind of just change it up really quick. But I'm not finding Heather like the centerpiece of the show. Like they keep promoting her on Bravo. I am loving Gina and Emily, but especially Emily this season. Who knew she would be like MVP for me? I had no idea.
I do have to say really quick, we ended off last week's episode with this moment where Emily was getting a little bit saucy. Look at Gina's face. And I love this duo together because they are keeping the storylines going. They're reminding me of Bad Weather, but on the OC. I'm digging it. I'm here for it. And Emily was hurting the next day. Now we kick off this episode with Emily walking into a bathing suit shop with Nicole James and Dr. Jen Armstrong. And when she did, she's carrying a 2-liter of ginger ale.
2-liter bottle of ginger ale.
Does that cure a hangover? I would have been carrying a 2-liter of like water or soda water.
I mean, it does. Well, it will settle your stomach, but so will a lot of other things. But I don't think it hydrates you.
Okay. Yeah,
because one of those things, liquid IV is really good for hangover. Yeah.
I mean, I found that a little bit interesting. And I like it when they're, sitting there bathing suit shopping. First of all, Emily can wear a damn bathing suit. She came out rocking that bathing suit, especially when I feel like I've had too much, the night before, or we've gone out and it's like an event or a party. Oof. The next day, you're not catching me in a bathing suit. I just feel like, ugh.
No, it's even hard to come on camera, but I love the comparison she was making to her daughter and Dr. Jen when they were trying on their bathing suits. And then they showed up the photo. I'm like, this is funny. Emily is just bringing a lot of charm, a lot of humor to the show. I don't know if she watched herself and is like, I need to step it up or something. But she, for me, anyways, is delivering. And I'm really enjoying watching Orange County this season. Like I'm looking forward, every episode I'm like, oh, cool. Because Salt Lake, we got kind of like that dip and then the rise and the dip. And I like a really consistent season. And so far for me, anyway, I know some people don't love it. It has been kind of consistent.
Okay. Well, she, like you said, Emily did bring in some funny moments. Like one, when she said, trying on bathing suits with these two Smurfs, or you look like Annabelle, like I gave birth to you. But one moment I found kind of cringy here was with Nicole James. Now, I'm kind of one of those people, if I don't like someone, I'll keep it to myself. I don't need to go on a bashing fest. I'm not going to go share it with the world. Jason and I are in a relationship, so we'll have conversations, but I'm not going to try to sway other people. If I don't like someone, that's my opinion, but go form your own. And for Nicole, she came into this situation and she's sharing with Emily and Dr. Jen that she's pretty much over Noella. But it's very clear here that Nicole almost seems like she's trying to sway Emily Simpson, which she caught on to really quick. We have to remember Emily is a lawyer. She's very intelligent. And she's used to dealing with a bunch of people who act like children, considering she has like a whole Brady Bunch at home. I'm happy that she picked up on this.
Yeah. No, me too. Okay. For me, Nicole could just go now. I thought we weren't going to see her anymore. And then she keeps appearing on our screens.
I think it was Storm Doors who said that too, that we're not going to see her after this one scene. Okay,
good. Because, I just feel like it's better without her. There's, I don't know. I'm not feeling Nicole at all. And she's just trying to play the field to stay relevant right now. That's how I feel.
Right. And at first, guys, there was, by the way, 150 in the room. Smash that like button. At first, there was, this rumor that Nicole ended up quitting because of Heather Dubrow. Now, that rumor got put to bed. From what we're hearing, Nicole actually had a really bad back and forth with production. I think they probably, because this is how it works with the shows, producers will start telling you, we need you to go up and say this. We need you to address this. And they'll push and push and push and see how much they can get out of you before you finally say, that's not something that I want to do. And something must have happened between Nicole and production for her to be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm out. I'm not going on the Cabo trip, because nobody gives up a free Dubrow trip to Cabo. Okay?
No, not like that.
No. Who said Kate said, Nicole is boring. What happened? Did they fire her? I don't think she was fired. I think she actually walked away because they had a disagreement. Nicole was not really even that entertaining to me. The only moment was when Noella was crying and she was trying to nope out, and even that was a mean moment.
Yeah.
And Philly Diva, oh gosh. Nicole is like the gum on the bottom of your brand new shoes as soon as you step in, as soon as you get out of the car. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. All right.
You know who I also like that we got to see? That we got to see. Of course, she's a housewife. We're watching Housewives. But I really enjoyed Gina in this episode, because I feel like Gina is all of us kind of looking at Heather Dubrow's house and her life. Like when she goes over, when she goes over to this moment, or in this moment, and she goes over to her house and she's pushing buttons. She's like, okay, that's not the doorbell. Who was I talking to?
And I love to open the door. Okay. So we'll get to that. I mean, honestly, before that, guys, we just saw Shannon where she was kind of busy prepping for the trip, and she didn't seem like she was excited to go because she hasn't really seen the girls in about, I think it was 2 weeks. But she did say she is in a decent place with Heather. However, she doesn't know how the rest of the trip is going to go, especially with Heather and Noella. But Heather does invite Gina over, and It's a packing party. So Gina shows up to this massive estate and she doesn't know which one's the doorbell because as soon as Heather opens the door, there's like I have a hard time operating Pops's cricket phone, let alone would I know what to do with that doorbell because there's like 500 buttons. And she's like, who was I talking to? And Heather's like, just one of the, someone who works for me. And Gina's like, okay. So we get in the Heather Dubrow closet and she has her own tags that say Heather Dubrow closet all over her clothes. This is next level. When they sit down, they're talking about their trip to Cabo and Heather pretty much lets Gina know, I'm so excited for this girls trip. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. My family and I, we go to Cabo about 10 times a year, maybe even more. And this is a moment where I want to just go see some land, potentially build a house. And we'll get to the reasons why in a minute. But when she's talking, Gina says, I need to ask you for a favor. Heather goes, wait a minute. Hold on. What's the favor? And she's like, Noella. I feel like Noella should be invited. She's like, okay, sell it to me. Why do you think Noella should be invited? Gina goes, listen, I can't give you a positive here. And I can't say it's not going to go bad, but I just feel like she's kind of hurting right now. And Heather just started laughing. She's like, this is the worst way of selling this to me ever. What did you think in that moment?
I mean, I understand where Gina's coming from because Gina has been in this situation before. So I think she kind of feels not really some guilt, but like it should be the one to be kind of supporting Noella. Noella likes to, point out that not a lot of people reach out to her all the time, going through all of her stuff. But I saw Heather she was a little cautious about inviting Noella because she was concerned about a gift that Noella had given her daughter. And
we have to talk about that.
Yeah. And so am I jumping ahead?
No, go ahead.
No. And I just thought, okay, I understand that. But at the same time, I understand where Gina's coming from here.
Okay. So Noella actually, Gina, we love you. Noella actually gifted Heather Dubrow's daughter, Max, on the day of her book launch, gifted her a card game. In this card game, it had things like Eat My... And it was just very vile. It was definitely an X-rated card game. I don't know.
Get your something and get your, no, not good.
I don't know why she would feel this is appropriate. Mind you, Max is 17, but she's not an adult. Now, Heather, I don't want to say this word on here because the algorithm, Heather did call it X-rated material. Normally we say the word that starts with P. And she said it's that kind of material. And it kind of took her back a little bit. And I don't know if there were photos in the card game. I would assume maybe there were, but if it's just based off of the words, does that classify?
I mean, I just think it's an inappropriate gift, to be honest. It's kind of like, I guess, like Cards Against Humanity kind of game, but
right
here, I'm just trying to understand how everything goes so south so fast because Noella really wanted to be Heather's friend. It seemed like at the very beginning. And now we're just seeing this whole relationship between the two kind of diminish. But I listen, the Noella reminds me of sometimes Bronwyn because she's Bronwyn's friend where she says and does things that like, why are you doing that right now?
Joe Mendoza made a good point and said, is that an 18 plus game? I think Shannon was saying that Noella doesn't really know what was in it, but I don't buy that excuse. There seems to be a trend with watching a lot of these shows like, oh, maybe that person didn't mean what they said. Maybe that's not what they meant when those words came out of their mouth. Or maybe Noella didn't know what that game was when she bought it. When at some point, guys, we are dealing with grown ass adults. Okay. And they're a lot smarter than we think. I mean, I would know if I went to go celebrate my friend's 17-year-old daughter's book launch. I would know if I went to go buy her a gift, what the gift was. And I'm sure on the card game, it says what it is. I'm sure it's very obvious. I don't think that she just thought, oh my gosh, this is like Monopoly, but in cards. Yes, it's going to be fantastic. I don't think that. So
I agree. And I don't think it's very congratulatory. It's not like, hey, you just... you're releasing a book, have this game. That's, I don't know.
Yeah. Or buy her like a beautiful custom pin with like the rainbow on it, since the book is talking about her journey and stuff. And maybe it's engraved with her name where she can sign copies, like something that's thoughtful, but not like,
Okay, I like that gift.
Yeah, there's a couple other ways that you could have gotten. Guys, I'm the worst gift giver. I can't even believe I thought about that. But okay, 300 in the room, guys. Smash that like button. Show some love for Jason's last day on live with us this week. Except for Sunday, we'll be talking about Miami. So we're going to hold off until then. I'll drop a pre-record tomorrow, but we'll have a live conversation on Sunday. Now, Heather did say, fine. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say in the chat, Aaron said exactly my thoughts on Noella. Noella is a hot mess, but I love watching her. And this is very true because she came into this cast and she's kind of holding her own. She doesn't really give a shit. She's just being herself and doing whatever she wants. So I really enjoy her on the show, but she's just a mess. She's messy.
Noella did admit in an interview that she was a big Housewives fan, and so was Bronwyn. Some people don't know this, but Bronwyn was not cast on Orange County in a conventional way. Like normally the women submit other women's names into like the casting pool, and then production will look into every single person, and then they'll have them come and do interviews. They'll test them out. And if they like them, they'll do second interviews, and then they'll go visit their homes and do interviews in their homes with their family. There's like a whole process to it. But normally your name is put into the till. And for Bronwyn, it was different. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was taking photos of her and her family and her lavish lifestyle, hashtagging Real Housewives of Orange County. And she got picked up by the producers on their radar because she was doing that specific hashtag. She knew how to play the game until she didn't. And 100%. I think Bronwyn saw how unapologetically Bronwyn was herself and how people liked that until it went beyond. I mean, in one season, we had sobriety journey, her putting her hands on her husband, having a girlfriend, coming out as a lesbian. Like I think she just got way too ahead of herself. She gave us 3 seasons worth of storylines in one season, and Bravo was like, you are giving us.
And there's a way to do that, right? We're watching Alexia do that on the Real Housewives of Miami, but she's doing it, the way she's doing it. Like I said, it's not really what, it's how Alexia is delivering on her, 7 storylines, but all in one season. But Bronwyn's was just too much, too fast, and too almost too deep, I want to say.
Right. And I think too, for Bronwyn, a lot of people felt like Bronwyn, they felt like they were watching someone maybe self-destruct a little bit in front of the cameras and asking, Bravo and the network, why are you like, this could be hurting her more than it's helping her because we're showcasing her and she might not be able to take like the feedback. Why are you guys continuing to give her this platform? Which was a good question. But I feel like Noella was watching her former best friend. She saw how she was unapologetically herself, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to do the exact same thing. And that's what she's doing. So Heather Dubrow did end up inviting her on the trip. They're taking a private jet to Cabo, and shit's about to go down. But thankfully for Heather, because Heather did not want to invite Noella, she can't make it the first couple of days because she had an appointment. So the trip kind of kicks off to an okay start. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I honestly... This is one thing Heather was right about, because it looks like everyone was having a great time. And then Noella showed up with a lot of drama, and we'll get to that in a second. But I really did. It just reminds me of like the Orange County Housewives. When they have trips like this, when they get liquored up, it's just fun to watch them.
It is a lot of fun to watch them, and I think with this trip too, I like that Shannon. Okay, so the Shannon and Heather thing, I really did not want it to be a storyline all season. And I'm happy we were able to kind of put this to bed. Heather gave her promise not a threat situation to Shannon. And we were able to kind of move on and at least go on trips together. Like, we're not carrying this out. And on the trip, on the plane, Heather said there are 3 bottles of boob. She's like, that's not enough. What are the rest of the girls going to drink? And then you see Shannon going, I'm fun Shannon. Where's fun Emily? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be... Here comes fun Shannon. Tequila Katie.
Listen, and Emily said it best. This is the Shannon that I like to hang out with. This is the Shannon that I enjoy. This is also the Shannon I enjoy watching on TV. So, I mean, I'm not a huge Shannon fan, to be honest. But when Shannon gets liquored up, she has a few tequilas, she becomes pretty watchable on television.
She does become pretty watchable on television. I should have asked Tamara yesterday when I was asking her questions.
God,
by the way, guys, I dropped the call-in link. We are keeping this to probably about 45 minutes today instead of an hour because Jason has to get to the airport. But if you guys want to join the conversation, we would love for you to. with Shannon, I wanted to ask because Tamara made a comment that got her not in trouble, but it did. The press ran wild with it. And she was like, well, look at some of these ladies. This is what happens when you don't take care of yourself and you drink so much. And it was in a photo of Shannon where she obviously, I mean, we all go through it. We gain weight, we lose weight, we go through trying times, and it kind of changes us. Sometimes we look more emotional or tired. It makes sense. But when Tamara said it, everyone's like, you're talking about Shannon. She's like, no, I wasn't. I was just talking about the show. I don't know.
But that was fun to watch. I really enjoyed that interview.
I agree. Now, guys, I asked you in the poll, but I want to ask you in the live chat. Do you think Noella Bergener should have been invited to Cabo, or do you think Heather should have stuck to her gut feeling and said, no way, I think she might ruin the trip. We're not getting on right now. This is supposed to be a special time for me and the girls. I want to find a place where I can break ground, find a place where I can find, or build a new family home that my family and my kids can have forever. That way, when I'm no longer here, they can continue to build memories and spend time together. I don't think that was a trip for Noella to be on. Or do you feel like it was because it's really mean to leave her alone?
We always talk about how, when the housewives go on trips or things like that, we were even talking about last week with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, how Mary and Meredith didn't get on the van, but that is their job, right? So I feel like it was great for Heather to invite Noella because this is what we want to watch, the conflict resolution that the housewives provide. And
I mean, everybody, it can't be cupcakes and rainbows.
No. You know what I did notice, and I don't mean to jump around here, is the dynamic between Dr. Jen and her husband, Ryan.
Hold on. We're going to get into that. I do have a question for you. Before we get into that, what did you think of the villa?
I loved it. It looked like when they first walked in, though, and here's where I was a little disappointed. I mean, because of the opulence of Heather Dubrow, the villa was amazing. I love that it had casitas. How many pools that had, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that place. But it's right next to a big, high-rise hotel. Did you notice that?
Yes.
I was like, ooh, that's not private.
I mean,
anyway.
You're not wrong.
I love the villa.
All right. I love the villa too. And we will get to the conversation now with Dr. Jen Armstrong and her husband, Ryan. That name, I can't. But Coffee Buzz says, LOL, we have a lemon tree. Yes, she is on the phone with Ryan, and she's just talking to him about, what are you doing? I just got here. He said, well, me and the kids just planted pineapple trees or pineapples. And she was like, pineapples? And he said, yeah, we planted them next to the lemon tree. She goes, we have a lemon tree? And at this point, we're starting to realize that Dr. Jen Armstrong has immersed herself into her work so much in order to be the most successful that she can. And in doing so, she's sacrificing time with her family, and she's missing out on a lot of these moments. I thought it was pretty, not special, but I thought it was nice that Heather Dubrow could give her side of what it was like being in Ryan's position, really. Because when we saw Heather Dubrow before she actually left the show, she was having some problems with Dr. Terry Dubrow because he was working so much. And we even got a flashback where he said, oh, Maxie, I haven't seen you in a week. And she goes, it hasn't been a week. And he said, no, it has been a week. I haven't seen my daughter in a week. It's like, this is crazy. Yeah.
It's just the dynamic is weird. And I just noticed how uninterested he is when talking to her on the phone. And especially, and I know, I think Storm and I were talking about this at one point too, but there's one point where, he was out of town with the daughters, bringing her mom back. And remember, we got that look from the nanny. I don't know if that was clever Bravo editing to give us make us think something, but the nanny kind of looked over. Do you remember that?
Yes. And it looked like there's something happening with Ryan and the nanny. Everyone was running wild with that.
Everyone. And it just feels like he's just not interested. But maybe at the same time, Dr. Jen isn't putting in enough effort in the relationship. This is something I'm enjoying to watch play out because I want to see, as doctors are very busy people. And I just want to see more of their family dynamic.
Right. And to be fair, it is something that we have to continue to watch play out. And for her storyline, it makes sense. There are a lot of people out there that, one parent might be working, the other one's at home, and there's either a power struggle or an imbalance. And there has to be some resentment here. She's going out, she's making the bucks, and he's staying at home shirtless watching the kids. And like she said, he feels like I do nothing. I feel like he does nothing. This is obviously a big problem. And we know that the midseason trailer dropped this week. A lot of trailers dropped this week, but the midseason trailer dropped this week. And we see a conversation where Dr. Jen is on the phone saying that Ryan left and that she can't do this anymore. She can't do this relationship. I feel like there's a lot to come out that's going to come out about her.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then on top of that, let's pile on all the legal situations. Like, holy it's the never ending.
Yeah, that what isn't she being sued or for allegedly what was she being sued for?
There's a bunch of lawsuits. She's suing a former employee suing her, and a former patient suing her. I mean, it's just like there's a lot. And then on top of it, doctors
do get sued right and left. So I wonder how serious the accusations are.
She said,
"Oh, did she?"
Yeah, she said once you start getting into like you're more of like a high-power doctor or attorney where you have more notoriety or you start building your platform and your public platform gets bigger. She's like, everybody just wants to sue you because they think they can get something out of you.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I don't know. Let's see what everyone's saying in the live chat right now. Doctors get sued. It's not uncommon. See,
yeah. Dr.
Jen needs to rely on her staff to help her organize and prioritize. I agree. Men do not like to be alone. She should get it together or she will regret it. And that's the thing too, is 9 times out of 10. Oh, and we have to think about editing. That's true too.
Yes.
But editing
is very clever.
But it didn't make Dr. Jen say that she can't do this anymore and that he packed his bags and left. So as clever as editing is, you can't.
It could be something so minute that we wouldn't even. Yeah, we'll get there and we'll be like, okay, what's gonna happen? And then it's like, ball dropped.
One thing that was funny is Jason and I never say the same thing at the same time. And last night we were laughing because we were watching all of the women pick their rooms and. Dr. Jen first was like, I want this one. And then Emily's like, you bitch. And it's like, what? Jeez, it's like an estate. What are you talking about? And then Shannon picks the next room. And as they're going through, Heather's like, girls, just pick your room. I have the master suite, of course. Like, don't just pick whatever you want. And as they're going through, Emily and Gina, well, they end up saying that they don't want one of the other 4 rooms. They don't need 2 individual rooms because when they're on vacation together and they don't have their partners, her boyfriend or Emily's husband, that they act as wives, like they're wives to each other and they like to room with each other. Again, it reminds me of like Bad Weather, Robin and Giselle, Ramona and Sonia. Like it reminds me of those, housewives that like really group together. They kind of stir the shit and then they're like, we're here. Like
but I love them this season. And we were talking about this last night too, just how much we really didn't like Emily and Gina, especially last season, and how much they have just completely. It's like they've done a 180.
Right.
But
and this was. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say sometimes when you're on a trip or whatever, you kind of want a friend with you like all the time. I don't know if I want to sleep in the same bed as someone, but definitely like roommates is a fun, especially on a girls trip.
But they have 2 separate beds, so they're good. But they did say they don't mind sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah.
Finley, this was a great point. The tumor aspect on her femur and now has a cement leg. That story was not funny. That was sad. That was sad. And I didn't even know. I mean, I guess you don't know unless you go through it or know somebody who's gone through something like this. I personally don't. So I didn't know that they actually will give you a cement leg. A little story. And guys, 400 in the room, smash that like button. It's story time with Adam. When I was little, my mom took me to a flea market and she bought me these Spider-Man roller skates that attached to my shoes. And she wanted to teach me how to go rollerblading. Or roller skating. So she got a pair of roller skates and I got these little things that attached to my shoes. And we were going down the sidewalk and there was a bump in it, but I didn't see it because I'm so klutzy anyways. So I'm just going and she went ahead of me and hit the sidewalk where it goes like this to catch me to make sure I didn't fall. And her leg snapped in half and my mom's bone went through her leg. So now what they did was they put a rod in her leg. And now she always, if it gets too cold, if it gets too hot, it acts up. And my mom was a career server. So she was working like 3 different jobs in all of these different restaurants and her leg always acts up. And every time we go to the airport, TSA dings her because her metal rod in her leg goes off. It's not funny, but it's like, it's sad. And thank you, Mom. I love you. Sorry. Okay. Ouch. Oh my God. Yes. Okay.
Oof.
Like
God,
this
the
video
phone.
for actual story times with Adam, guys. I don't know if I could give you all of my stories. They're crazy.
You can't. No.
No. Shout out to your mom. Okay. Now, let's pan over to the next day. The next day, we're still wondering, where is Noella? And she's packing up, telling her little baby dog that she can't go on the trip because you're not, if you ask Karen Huger, vaccinated. Okay. And she's getting ready to go on the trip, but she missed her plane because she said that they didn't accept her passport. Now, Heather was like, that doesn't make sense. She must have forgot her passport. And I was like, how do you forget your passport? Okay, it happens. Come to find out, Noella didn't know a life before James Bergener. That's what I'm gathering from this, because her excuse was, you know, to be fair, James and I always fly private. Like, I'm used to this stuff kind of being taken care of and I don't have to worry about it. I didn't know that I needed to bring my passport to fly out of the country.
Yeah, she was talking about some kind of card, I think too, if I'm not mistaken, that you can have for like flying on private jets or something like that. But at the same time, if you're going out of the country, no matter where you're going, you want to have your passport.
Right.
You know, so I wasn't understanding that at all, but
I mean,
she's gonna have to either find someone who is richer and better, or kind of get her shit together a little bit.
I mean, guys, in the live chat, have you ever gone to the airport and forgot your passport?
What happened? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to, first of all, I want to say thank you to the people who make these electronic desks. It is a blessing and a curse. This thing readjusts itself. It has a mind of its own. Sometimes it charges my phone. Sometimes I come back in, shit's reset. I set it this high.
Listen,
it has a life of its own.
People are saying too, Mercury is in retrograde. I don't know if that is still true. It certainly does feel like it, because these lights behind me will start having their own kind of party whenever they want to. They'll just start.
Yes.
Like, you know, like last night we were sleeping and those are like off,
and it's like throwing a rave.
It's like a club in here.
Yeah. I woke up and my eye was like half cocked last night after having such a long day. And I was like, what is happening? Am I in like, I felt like I was at like Burning Man, and I've never been. Okay. All right. So let's pan over. We're going to continue this conversation. 450 in the room. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. And C said, and full moon. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
A passport card isn't accepted for all international travel.
No, not at all. I would always, even though you would have that, I would just always take my passport. Okay. You know, I don't know. I've been to 18 countries and I've always had my passport.
Okay. No need to brag. No. All right. Now we sit down with Heather, and it's Gina and Emily, and Heather just sat down with her architect. The architect, you know, gave her the plans for this new house. And I just, in my head, I'm wondering, how the hell do you have enough money to build not only a $20+ million home, but then less than a decade later, you have enough money to build another, like, what would that look easily? Can I say 5-10 million?
Probably down that. Yeah. In Cabo. Absolutely.
And you have to think too, it's going to be 5-10 million, because it's not just the home and like the shell of the home, everything from the floor. Like, she will probably want everything she's used to in her home in this home.
Yeah.
Which just seems like a pain in the ass, because I feel like that means there's a lot that can go bad.
And I wonder how that works too, because I don't know if this is still the case, but I know when you're a foreign buyer in Mexico, I believe you actually lease the land for 99 years.
Right.
So I wonder, like, if the kids or whatever, if they have to like renew a lease or buy it again. I don't know how that works.
Could you imagine? I mean, I don't know how this works either, but could you imagine like having a home in the family for 100 years, and then all of a sudden, like, your great grandkid turns 18 and there's like 1 year left, and then all of a sudden you get a letter saying, okay, you had the house for 100 years, we're taking it back.
Now, I don't know what the case is anymore. I know that even certain states in Mexico have different kind of ways they do it, but I know when I had a friend who was looking into some property in Mexico, that's kind of what it was like. So I'm not sure. Yeah. We should research that. That's what I'm going to do when I'm waiting for my plane at the airport.
Okay. I like, I like Heather's story where she's talking about, you know, she wants to really do something for her kids because she had her kids at an older age. And it broke my heart when she was talking about this dream that she had where it was her 2 daughters and she could see the rest of her kids, but really she couldn't make them out. And they said mom would have loved this. So obviously something touched her, making her realize I'm not going to be here forever. That's sad. It breaks my heart. But it is true.
What about the house that they live in now? What's going to happen to that house? Is that not for the kids?
I mean, that could be for the kids, the kids' kids, the kids. I feel like we could move in there with our little animal family.
Entire county of LA could fit in that house.
I think we can move in their whole neighborhood into that house.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right.
It reminds me of I don't know. It maybe like a hotel, when we were in Miami, we went to, what was it? The Satai, and you go in, and it's these opulent flowers, and it reminded me of walking into the lobby of the Satai when Gina came over to Heather's house and just walking in. The more we get to see it, the more I'm like, is this a hotel? Is this a Macy's? Is this what is this place?
See, I mean, I could look at that house every single day. And I think it's probably because we're fascinated. It's just not a normal house. Most people, you don't have that.
Can you imagine being a teenager growing up in that house? You would never have to hide from anyone. You'd have your privacy.
I feel like our furniture would fit in Heather's bathtub.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, this is just sick. Okay, anyways, we'll keep going. Right. So the girls end up going on a horseback riding excursion. When I say the girls, I mean Shannon, Gina, and Emily. And when they do, Emily knows how to go horseback riding, and so does Shannon. And Emily looked damn good in 2 scenes in this episode. She looks great all the time, but riding that horse, I was like, she knows exactly what she's doing. And when she was doing the bathing suit try-ons with her 2-liter of ginger ale, I was like, you're killing it, Emily.
Emily looked good riding a horse, I have to say. But as she was playing right into it, when she sat down and poured the water all over her.
Oh, yeah.
And
Shannon was even like, what did she say, Baywatch or something?
Yeah.
But, they're having this conversation about Noella's coming. What do you think is going to happen? And Gina's like, I think we should all try to help facilitate this relationship and help them kind of get to a place where they could be friends. And Emily just goes, I don't think that's going to happen. I was like, Emily, you said it, but I was thinking it.
It seems to me too, and this is just going back to Heather, because Heather loves to mother this group, right? She likes to give them permission to do things, even though that's probably not her job. She likes to kind of control the environment, especially on this vacation, which sometimes can be good. I love to go on let's say we went on a trip. I would love for it to be planned out, so we know where to be, what we have to do, because otherwise I understand that. Right. But when Heather judges someone, it's literally all the way. So it takes time to come back under her good graces.
I mean,
does that make sense?
I just want to say this. It reminds me of what my dad used to tell me. Son, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, and it takes one moment, just one moment, to ruin how people will look at you forever, because that gets ingrained in their brain. And for Noella accusing Heather and saying, well, I saw, but I heard, but someone said, and it was very unclear. Did you see Heather push somebody? Did you hear about Heather pushing somebody? Did someone tell you, what actually happened? Because this story's not connecting. You never said to us, and you never looked at Heather in the face and said, I saw you push somebody, and I know what I saw. Because if she would have stood in her conviction and could have looked at Heather right in the eyes, I would have been like, oh, damn. But
we find out that Noella does twist and turn stories, because she was talking about the other girls. Emily and Gina confronted her at dinner. So I don't really know what to believe. I don't know if she'll be under Heather's good graces again for the rest of the season.
Right. Okay. Noella has no credibility. Yes, it does, Jason. It's a promise. Heather is a school mark. I'd hate to travel with her. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. So we're getting back to it. The rest of the women are getting ready. Everyone's starting to get ready for this night out, and they're going out in Cabo to have their first dinner. When they do, we see Noella arrives, and she gets to the villa, estate, hotel, kind of. I've never stayed. Actually, we stayed in something like this in Thailand. That's what the closest thing I could think of.
That's true. Yeah.
It wasn't on our dime, guys, because this guy is frugal as hell. But my point is, they're all getting ready. All of the women look beautiful, and we see Noella arrive. Noella thought, I'm surely going to get the worst room. They're probably going to put me in a motel. And it looks like she's coming in here looking for reasons to be upset with Heather, when really at this point, after what happened, after having that miscommunication and Heather still inviting her on Heather's trip, which I get it, they're contractually obligated, all women should be invited, but it is still Heather's trip that she's planning for very real reason. It's not just like, oh, I woke up and I thought, why not Cabo? She's like, no, I'm about to hire a bulldozer, break ground, and build the next Taj Mahal, but in Cabo. That's what Heather's goal is for this trip. So it is very much so Heather's trip. I feel Noella shouldn't have come in with such a hidden agenda, because that's how it came off. Like, she was looking for a reason to be upset. And then she was pleasantly surprised that the villa was amazing. And then she shows up to dinner and she's like, hello,
but then she wasn't happy that no one was there to greet her too. But this is what happens, you know, when you show up late, you know, I mean, I know she probably had something else to do, but not everyone is not waiting for you to get there.
Right. I mean, what do you expect? Honestly, if you show up late, you forget your passport, you don't know how, like, that doesn't make sense. This is on you. This is not on anyone else. I had this, I have so many stories, but I had this awful stepmom who used to always tell me if I would miss something by a beat, they would literally leave and just go, like, if we were supposed to go to the zoo or something and I wasn't out of the shower by, like, she said we're leaving at 10 and I was out by like 9:59 and not dressed by 10, they would leave and say, guess what? Time doesn't stop for Adam. I think that's why I'm so timely now. Like, now I don't miss a beat at all. I'm always on time. But in this moment, I thought, Noella, they don't really need to be there to greet you because you were late. Okay. So had you have arrived at the same time, I think it would be a little bit
I think
different.
we've all been on trips, or we've been in situations, even like dinners or events, where you show up a little late and you kind of just jump in and join in. I didn't think it had to be such a big deal. Like, where is someone to greet me? It reminded me of when, well, I mean, listen, Mary was on time, but it reminded me when Mary showed up and no one was there to greet her and Meredith was sitting in the bath. That also is, well, that's a bad host at that point because Mary wasn't late.
I mean,
but it's the same thing. Like, where is my host? Where are the people? Where is everyone? But if you're late, that's what you have to expect. You have to just jump in.
I guess, though, maybe we're a little bit more relaxed, Jason, because I feel like if we went to say we go on a vacation with friends or family or whatever, if we show up and we have the address, I'm knocking on the door, opening it, hello, and I see people are in the pool or someone's in the shower, I'm just going to figure out where's my room, how to get settled in, but I'm not going to be like, you didn't greet me at the door. Like, who are you?
And like, it's also it's not her house too. I mean, she is the host, but it's not like she has to welcome you in. Everyone's there on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, Aaron, that's exactly what happened. Noella is very thirsty and strange, but I think there's some truth to what she said about Heather. Okay. She had a bartender there to serve her. That's true. There was a bartender there to make her a margarita. And she's like, oh, I've needed one all day. I'm like, girl, you had a few on the plane. We all do when we go on vacation. So I don't know who you're kidding. But she ends up making it to the dinner, and it looked like the women were having a great time. Everyone was asking, has anyone spoken to Noella? And they're kind of like, someone should have checked on her. She's still going through a divorce. She's by herself. She's going through a lot of emotions. Has anyone checked on her? And they just said, she's here at the hotel or the estate. She will be coming to dinner tonight. Here she comes in. Hello. And then they're doing a toast. Well, they do a toast with tequila. One thing I learned from working at one of the best restaurants ever, okay, and I just have to say that because it was the best times of my life, which would be Tom Tom, and working with some amazing people. There were always mixologists and world-renowned people who would come in and teach the bartenders how to do their jobs. And I learned from that, if it's a good tequila, not Patron or something like extremely commercialized that might give you a headache, but a really good tequila like
Patron is not, no, yeah. If it's like, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, if it's like Casa Azul or Don Julio 1942 or Casamigos, then you can drink it neat and you don't get that like, ugh. It's like, it's nice to drink and you're not supposed to actually add ice to it. So
well, it depends. Like, I mean, that depends. But if it's a really good tequila, like it looks like they were drinking maybe a reposado, then you don't need to chill it. It's actually probably better without, like you said, it being diluted.
Okay.
I mean, if you have like Jose Cuervo, like I would definitely put a lot of stuff in that to make it taste better. But
yeah,
I'm sure they're not drinking that.
That makes me want to throw up. Noella is the reason why everyone is talking about this season. She understood the assignment. And Santivia said, LMAO, Adam and his Heather favoritism. That's a good one. I don't really favor Heather. I enjoy watching her on the show. If she does something wrong, we'll talk about it. But I don't think in this moment, all she said to Noella is, I think that you have a lot to focus on in your family right now, and I'm not the best friend for you. I think that was a lot nicer of a delivery than Nicole hanging up in her face and then, trying to yank her out of the restaurant and then going around to everybody talking shit about her. Heather didn't do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Heather still, for me, I'm glad she's back on the show. Like I said at the beginning, because I feel like she's changed the dynamic. I'm really glad Noella's here because, as I said, she's a mess and I love watching her, but she can hold her own. So that's where I like to see the dynamic, within the ladies. However, in this situation, when Noella came, it just literally the whole mood came down. We needed that. We needed that.
It's true. And Jason, I know that you have to, guys, I'm sorry. I was going to bring up callers and everything. And I know Jason has to get to the airport anytime now. We have about 5 minutes left. I do just want to get through the scene because I want to ask
if you want, you can bring up some callers because I have to pack for the next 20 minutes. So.
Okay. I'll start bringing up callers in a second then. But in the meantime, what I wanted to say is when Noella sits down, she immediately starts complaining about the shot, the drink, what's going on. Heather doesn't understand because she's like, it's not like a good glass of wine or it's a tequila shot. Just take the shot. And if opulent Heather is saying that, then okay. But she could be picking.
She brought up good points. There are things to be picky about. You're watching all of these women at the table who, are very picky, prissy, rich, are very specific. Just take a shot of tequila. It's like, just join in the party and have a little fun. Take the shot. And here was the moment we got to see Noella kind of, her entitlement showed a little bit. She came in and she's like, well, where is the ice, throwing the water out of the glass. And we hate to go to anywhere where there are servers and you're constantly berating them for something, if they're not doing it fast enough or, it just came off wrong. But
is my mom in the room? Because we give her a lot of shit for doing that.
And she was a server.
Yeah.
But, we needed Noella to come in this moment, and this is going to make the rest of the trip so interesting and fun to watch.
Right. Well, and then, Noella has her food in front of her, and she's kind of picking a little bit, and Emily and Gina think Heather looks annoyed. By the way, Emily did call out Noella for another shit-talking moment, and she said, Nicole told me that you said all I do with my kids is take them to go get frozen yogurt and go to Costco. And Nicole also told us that you said that Gina's boyfriend is a deadbeat. And Noella's like, well, I might have said that about you, Emily, but I didn't say that about you, Gina. I'm like, hold on. So you've literally talked about Dr. Jen Armstrong, Nicole James. You've talked about Heather Dubrow. You've talked about Gina Kay in her small house. You've talked about, which by the way, she's like one of the only ones who owns her house, except now Heather Dubrow. But you're talking about Emily Simpson. Literally the only person you have not talked about yet is Shannon Bedore. This is how you're kicking off your first season?
Yeah.
I mean,
I love it. It's great.
And then finally, Gina's like, you know what? The point of this is you're having a hard time. We want you to enjoy this vacation. I'm loving Gina because Gina is really just putting herself in Noella's shoes saying, I went through a divorce. It was the hardest time and I acted out for reasons that I can't even remember why, but let's just try to make the best out of this. So Gina gets up and says, I have to go to the bathroom, and Noella follows. When she did, thank you, Finley, by the way, for the super chat. We appreciate you. Alabama camper. Hi, everyone. When she did, Emily says to her, listen, I think because you didn't eat the food, like you might have pissed off Heather. And Noella just goes, oh, I'm sorry. So now it's what I eat. Now I have to cater to Heather. Is it okay with you guys if I don't eat when Heather wants me to eat? Am I here for Heather? And Gina's like, my one job here was to control you, and you just got here. And I'm like,
that potato moment was a lot, though, that Noella was having.
The whole thing was a lot. I think that the bartender gave her more than one margarita. I think that's to be fair. All right. Well, with that, Jason, I know that you have to go pack, so I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to bring up some callers. But in the meantime, what are you looking forward to?
I need to go because I've seen just clips of this trailer for the rest of the season, so I need to go watch that. But I'm really excited of where we are right now in the season with everyone kind of just mixed up. Again, Noella is coming in holding her own, and I love that. Emily and Gina know the assignment that they're on, and they kept us interested a little bit with the whole Shannon Heather storyline right at the beginning. So I think right now we're in a good spot to kind of take off for the rest of the season.
I agree. Sarah said, thank you for the super chat for Jason to get Shams on his trip. Oh, that's sweet.
Thank you. That's sweet.
I have a feeling, guys, Jason's going to Cape Cod and staying in like an estate and is about to be completely catered to. So he's in a very different. It's not this studio up in Adam over here, because over here we do gas station champs, and Jason's going to like the world of Voof. Jason,
you gotta like not tell Adam anything, because Adam loves to talk, right? So even like when he has something coming up, he like wants to tell you about it. I'm like, Adam, you have to. No, we're not talking. This I actually can't talk about, but I can drop hints. And it's not for what everyone thinks it is, I think. But it's a new project, and I'm really excited to work on this with some other people as well. So
that's the hint. That's your big hint.
That's the hints. I'll let you know. You have to come to my channel and find out.
This is why
when I drop a surprise live, you know?
Tess Ish said, it is to go see Captain Sean. I believe I'm right. Lori said, Jason is moving into Heather's world. Sarah, thank you so much for Adam for doing the damn thing. You're sweet.
Thank you, Sarah.
Appreciate
That's
you.
Awesome.
That's why I try not to drop hints. I drop trailers. Boom.
That's a big hint, friend.
Okay. All right, Jason, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks. I appreciate you. How much time do I have left?
Let's say we'll leave by like 1:30.
What time is it?
1:07.
Okay. Well, I still have to like shower off too. But all right. We're going to take callers. Yeah. What do you mean?
Hey, thanks for letting me join you. And have a good rest of your week. What day are we now? Thursday?
Get with the program, girl.
The days are yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye. All right, guys, we're going to welcome up one of our favorite callers. And I did drop the call-in link. You guys are more than welcome to call in. I was going to say something really clever, but sometimes I'm really not that funny. So let's just bring up Krista Marie.
Yeah, seriously. You're freaking me out. You freak me out when you go silent. I'm like, what's he going to say?
All right. No. I'm trying.
Anxiety when you travel alone for you, because I can't travel alone. Like, I get anxiety. Like you guys staying across the country from each other. Like, that gives me anxiety. So I would probably stay in the same room with my friend as well. Like, yeah. I'm so glad that we don't have to watch a whole episode about fighting over rooms, because that was like annoying and just over the top. And as far as like, all right, Noella, like in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, like the first live we did with Jason, we were so excited for her. Her energy was great. And I just don't want to lose that from her. But like, I think she's going against the grain. I think she knew going in, she knew that everybody was going to kiss Heather's ASS. So she knew to go and do the opposite and create, and it's working for her, because like we were just saying, she's kind of carrying the season, because that's all we're talking about. And I don't like, of course she didn't predict what was going to happen, but her not kissing Heather's is going against the grain. And then it's causing a lot of stuff to go down. But it's creating a huge storyline.
I mean, I agree with you and the people in the live chat. Without Noella going against Heather,
I don't agree.
I mean, Shannon and Heather made amends too fast. Like, we need some sort of drama. So
yeah,
and we know that Heather and Shannon are going to be going at it again later on the season in Aspen. So that's not over yet.
We've seen that show so many times. All right. Yeah. And now the thing with the gift, I was so I wasn't sure how to think about it, but Joe Mendoza brought up a good point. If she bought it at a place like Spencer's, that is something where anybody can go in that store. You don't have to be 18 to go to Spencer's. And they do have that stuff on the outside of like the box, what the cards would say. So it's not appropriate at all. But I can see where she would get a little confused. Like if she didn't buy it at like a X-rated store, then maybe in her head, she wasn't thinking it was that horrible. I know but Max is young.
You can also buy some toys. And you know what I'm talking about at Spencer's.
You can't see. I haven't been in there so long.
Because a 17-year-old can walk in, that it's appropriate to gift it to her.
No,
I honestly, people are kind of divided on this. Some people are like, "Oh, Heather, you're being such a prude," and other people are like, "No, this is completely inappropriate."
I would like to hear what Max has to say. You know what I mean? Like, how does Max feel about it? Like, if Max is completely offended, then I could see where Heather would be upset. But if Max is like, Mom, it's cool. Like, you don't tell your parents everything that goes on in your life.
I mean,
so I mean, Max might have thought it was okay, but we don't know. I mean, it's completely, yeah. I forget how old Noella is, but she's got to be close to her mid-30s, right?
For sure.
Yeah, she's old enough to know better.
Hey, Krista.
Hey, baby.
Krista,
Hey, baby.
I see Jordan down there in the call list going like this.
I'm freaking out. No, do you know what this moment is giving me?
What?
You remember on Beverly Hills when they were freaking out when Denise was freaking about like talking about sex in front of her daughters, and Erica was like, "Child, they're probably already having threesomes and giving blowjobs already," and like she flipped out. That's what this is giving me. Like it's like these kids are at an age where they can be discovering their own sexuality. Now, is it appropriate to bring it up, or in this case, give them that gift? No. But I see it going just like this. As the parent, no matter what your kids say, girl, that ain't cool. Don't get my child that. What is wrong with you? That is my child.
Yeah.
Boo. You don't do that. But the kid is probably like, girl, because when Denise brought it up to her daughters, they were laughing about it. But she was so enraged about it.
Right.
That was what I was trying to get to. Sorry.
I remember when she was at the table and she said, did your daughter, Rena's daughter, she asked her if she learned how to give from reading her mother's books. That's another example. And their daughters laughed about it and were like, oh, ha, 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 yeah, we learned by what your books. And then Rena flipped out when somebody else said it, but their daughters laughed about it with her at the table. And Rena's like,
her daughter literally said to her face, if you taught us anything, you taught us how to give a great blowjob.
Yeah.
I think what the biggest takeaway from this is
it's parenting.
Obviously,
parenting.
With kids being a lot more privy to social media and the internet, kids discover everything nowadays. Like, and 17 years old, you don't feel like a kid. You feel like you're about to be an adult, and you feel like you're starting.
I guarantee you, she's discovered a lot more than that way before 17.
Yes, I learned a lot from the internet.
Now, I mean, I don't need to share on here, but I know how I was as a kid. And I knew, like, I grew up really, really fast. I knew what everything was. I had a lot of brothers and sisters, so I was privy to a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have seen or known about. But
Adam, I grew up in the days of dial-up internet, and I was still able to discover some of the things that I should have never seen till I was good and grown and old enough to buy liquor to do those things.
I used to go on AOL and wait for it to dial up, and then I would go on the AOL chat room and say, "Hi, I'm Adam. I'm 30 years old," and then I would say to my dad, I remember one time I said to my dad, I was like, "Look, Dad, they think I'm 30." And it was this girl, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm 22." And he said, "And you think that this person's name is Brittany and she's 22 when maybe it's a 40-year-old man sitting behind there." And
you know what I'm realizing now as an adult too? When I was a kid, what my parents, what was going on around in the house, at the time, I didn't understand what they were doing and what things meant. But when I got older, I remember thinking back. Now I know what everybody's going in a room one after the other meant. Now I know what making your own cigarettes means. So not that I knew what it was, but I now know as I got older, as an adult, I realized what was going on as a child. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I got out alive. I'm like lucky to be alive. You know what I mean? Like, so
look at all things. So look at all of the debauchery that we got up to in our dial-up, slow AOL, Yahoo field childhoods. Imagine what Max done been able to dig up on Instagram and Twitter and Tumblr and all of those things.
She has access to the moon.
I've learned.
She probably got her own Wi-Fi router.
She has her own rocket ship.
I found out a lot more of the internet that I learned as a kid. Like, we could go and look for magazines as a kid. Like, that's how old I am, right? But like, once the internet came out, I couldn't believe the things I could find. I mean,
if she can publish a book on her own at 17, she can find porn. Like, come on, people.
To be fair, I think that I thought it was interesting, and I don't know if
I ain't saying she looking at it, but
if you thought about this, but Shannon's daughter also had a book launch last season, and it was talking about being a product of divorce. And we kind of celebrated it for 2 seconds, but it wasn't really.
Oh, I missed that. I wasn't watching.
Yeah, and then we'll see. And then Heather Dubrow, I think what it is with the Dubrows, like even Tamara said it on my interview with her yesterday. She said Heather wanted to come back to the show not for the money, not for herself, but she wanted to come back to give her kids a platform because maybe there are other kids out there who need to hear from someone their own age, like Max. And
that's why I would do it.
I mean, and I think Heather has all the best intentions. I think she's flabbergasted by what's going on with I think she's like, and like she says, and what universe am I in? But I think,
and if they're going to put her up on the pedestal to do it, why not?
She's starting to see that Noella is a little damaged and hurt. She's reactive, but she's also understands the assignment as a new housewife. But we also have to look to Bronwyn.
Because that's what I was.
I don't think Heather ever had a Noella in her seasons before. You know, like Noella she's coming in. She's giving me like early Kelly Dodd vibes. Like she's contrarian just to be contrarian. Like she got a problem with folks just to have a problem with people. Like I don't understand how your husband files for divorce from you and you flip out on everybody that is not your husband. Why are you talking about all these women and they ain't done nothing to you? Where's all that for Sweet James? All you did was find him. And I don't I don't understand the house shaming. Like Gina still has a beautiful house, and Noella, and
she owns it.
And she's talking about how like right now the credit cards are cut off. I don't know how to pay rent. I don't. How is
Noella talking, and she's trying to figure out, and she's walking on eggshells just to keep her husband's credit card on.
She just said
she really needs to be quiet. Yeah, she's literally squatting in her house with her son because her husband is laying it low and spreading it wide down to the Mykonos.
Wow, I knew Mykonos because of Lindsay Lohan. I was like, that is
out there with Kelsey Grammer and them.
Okay,
you don't try out.
This doesn't feel like Camille's first season. This whole thing with the way that her husband is doing Noella, does this not feel like a very savage way of how Kelsey did Camille?
Horrible. Yeah,
he put her on this show to drop her on her face.
Kelsey had a double life.
I
don't. I'm wondering what I don't know if this is the product of a double life or if it's the product of,
I think it took a little bit of planning to be able to, when this came out, just all of a sudden jump and go to Mexico, jump and go to Mykonos, cut off all the credit cards, have divorce papers ready, throw them in the girl face, get the flowers. Like all of this is very calculated and it all makes no sense. Like what does one have to do with the other? What does your IRS problem have to do with the correlate? Like how does that correlate with you filing for divorce? Because let's remember, Noella was 10 toes down. She came up with a whole solution. She was like, yo, let's sell this property real quick. Let's go let's rearrange this. Cool. Next thing you know, she look up, divorce papers in her mother's face.
Right.
She also, and he said,
that's a
I engaged in sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He made it seem like he needed a dry out period and that they got ahead of themselves. Well, I can understand that. Your relationships might start out toxic. It was toxic the whole time. Both can be true. And he's trying to escape the toxicity. But you don't go to Mykonos to dry out. You know what I'm saying? And apparently he has another chick. So
thank you, Ralph. Why are you driving to Tampa to go to the beach?
And where's their child? Is he stopping her child from being in there? Because we're not seeing her son or daughter. Did he stop her from having that?
I think that he threatened, allegedly, from what Noella is saying, he allegedly threatened to sue Bravo if they aired any footage of his son or inside of their house.
That's a shame that he's trying to stop this for her. But unless he's just scared of he knew the truth was going to come out about their life when he started getting her on the show. So why he just up and left her? I'd like a real reason.
Well,
or why did you agree to do the show in the first place?
They were living in Puerto Rico though, because Noella invited Tamara to Puerto Rico. They had already moved there, and she tested for the show the previous season because we saw her in one or two scenes with Bronwyn. And then while she was living in Puerto Rico, production called her, and they were still renting the house in Orange County. Her mom was staying there, and production called her and said, hey, we want to move in the direction with you. We want to make you a housewife. And James was like, I don't think that's a good idea anymore. And she said, no, I want to do this. And then I think she kind of talked him into it, and he originally signed off, which once they have that signature, they have that signature. And then he came back and said, you know what? I don't want, that is not what I meant. You're not filming with my child. I will sue you. And I think from what
I just got a theory.
They were like, well, this is alleged. But I think from what I'm gathering, they were like, you can't sue. You signed off.
Fair.
It seems like it's working.
What about this though? Like, what if which I can't remember because I've heard this so many times throughout the Housewives and the Bravo shows. What if it's one of those situations where it was like it started out like that, and then when the show came back around, he was like, well, if you do it, then I'm gonna divorce you, and she was like, well, I'm gonna do it. Didn't we just hear that on some other Housewives show? And she just did it just because she wanted the fame that bad, and then so initially, he signed off for the child to be on the show because they were just going to split, and maybe he didn't have all the problems with the money and the stuff at first, but then when all of his whole business and all of that started crumbling, then it was like, I don't want nothing to be seen. Don't show my house, don't show my child, don't show nothing. Cut her out the show, cut her check, figure it out. But I don't want no part of my name to be involved now that I'm going through it.
He might have seen everybody else getting arrested and been investigated. Remember, because it started 2 years ago, all this with Jen Shah and Erica just started showing up.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Crap. Yep. He's like, oh, crap. They're going to really look at our lives, Noella. Look what's happening. Cut it. Dick, because he bounced quick.
He did.
Because maybe she started filming around the same time that people started dropping. So it was like, oh, wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what's going on?
Never mind. Multiple 3-letter agencies, when you have multiple 3-letter agencies investigating other housewives and you got money situations going on, you bounce. You don't stick around. But
Jen Shah.
Yeah.
Or Jennifer Shaw, as I like to say. Because does anybody else find it so funny that Meredith called her Jennifer Shaw?
I can't wait, by the way, for this next week's episode of Salt Lake. I think it's going to be so good. And now I'm curious. We're hearing that Mary Cosby allegedly wants a one-on-one sit down with Andy, and I'm wondering if that happens, if they'll bring up, the parent conversation. I don't know, because I always thought too.
I would love that though.
When the interview came out, I thought that they would address it in some capacity on Portia's Family Matters or something, but their job is to protect the talent who's making them the most money, which was Portia, and that did not serve her a lot of justice.
Not the way Portia's Family Front turned out.
Well, she was bashing her own show, and production was probably like, "Oh, we spent all of this
because
money?"
She went into that trying to make one show, and the production was like, "Girl, we do this for a living. We hired you, sis.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah,
you don't run this."
Do that to showcase her work and stuff. I had no idea. Portia Family Matters to me means what we saw, right? I didn't know she set this up to be about her work and stuff that she was doing, because that would have never even crossed my mind watching what I saw. I didn't know until the very end when her aunt finally was able to showcase.
I'll say exactly what I said in my video. She gave us nothing.
Right.
She gave us nothing.
Lori said Portia's Family Matters was Bravo's worst show ever. Annika said, Adam, you got to get going. Val Porter, Adam, you got to get going. Yes, I understand. Thank you guys.
Yeah, Portia's whole show was a scheme that Todd set up. That's just it on that. But,
all right. Well, Jordan, I'm Krista. I am going to be dropping pre-records for the rest of the day, but tomorrow I'm going to be doing my wake up. Hopefully you guys will be around. That way I can bring you up for the live. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
What time does that start?
9:30 a.m. Eastern every day.
Okay, cool.
Monday through Friday. So except Saturday and Sunday. But I have to go, and so do you. Adam, shower time. Yes, I know. And not about today. Okay.
Just leave it to Adam's family.
I'm not. Jordan, Krista, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate the heck out of both of you, and I hope to
Thank
see
you.
very soon.
I know. I love you up here, Jordan. I love you so much. You know that.
I love you. We're just waiting for Jason's arm to just snatch you out of frame.
Right? Let's go. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Love y'all.
All right. Guys, I see you in the live chat telling me not to keep Jason waiting. Don't worry, I won't. I'm on my way out. If you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Thank you so much to all of our amazing mods, super chats, and super stickers. You guys are the absolute sweetest. I will be back with pre-records today, but as of right now, I am taking Jason to the airport. So I love you guys. We're at 99,100 subscribers, 900 more to go. Spread the word. Let's hit that 100K and get that silver play button. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.